The Seat Arona is a very popular small SUV. Let's find out why with the new facelift in the new trim, the Seat Arona Xperience. Let's go. The Seat logo has been updated a little bit, also a new front grille and this dot design, and they changed the Xcellence trim level to now Xperience with more off-road look here in the lower end with contrasting colors and also this stronger air intake design, but it's closed at the outside, just open right here. Also different positioning of the fog lamps and new LED lamps. Normal LED is also standard now, so a basic LED, and this is here the full LED lamp with more elaborated function, also standard for this new top Xperience trim. At the length of 4 meters 14 or 163 inches, it's a very short and tiny SUV, and wow, I mean, look at that beautiful background as well here in the northern part of Spain. Their new wheel choices, 17 and 18 inch. These are the bigger 18 inch, and again, the new styling really looks, tech-alike than the off-road wheel arches. And also new roof contrasting color, so you can get the contrasting roof in black, gray, and here in white. This of course has the biggest contrast. And this also a new paint. It's called dark camouflage and is a dark green style. Very interesting. They also changed to a new blue tone. So the blue tone was not available for some weeks, some months. Now a new blue tone, Thomas Blue, is also available once again. And this X shape here, this typical design element for the Arona. Of course, an Ibiza or something looks sportier, but this one here just higher and of course easier entry and so on. And I was recently told actually that I would be one of the rare YouTubers, car automotive YouTubers. I'm just, continue talking, then I walk out of the picture. I'm not really sure why someone, said that. In the rear, I see a new Arona handwriting here at the back, and also the Xperience trim adds this off-road look in the lower end, and also Autogefuhl fake exhaust alert, because this is a clearest case of a fake exhaust. Totally unnecessary, isn't it? As engines, there is the 1-liter 3-cylinder with 95 or 110 horsepower. The latter one also available with DSG, dual clutch transmission. And this one is the strongest 1.5 TSI with 150 horsepower, always connected to the dual clutch transmission, and front wheel drive always only. And they also still offer a CNG engine for this one here. It's a short vehicle, but the trunk is still at 400 liters, and have a baggage arrangement here for you. Again, it's short, that's why the trunk length is 29 inches, or it's a little bit over 70 centimeters, 73 centimeters. But the height is actually quite okay. See here, to the cover, it's 17 inches or 40 centimeters, and this also fits in a vertical way, at least if you put it there right in the middle. Then you can also fold the seats. You can directly do that from here. If you reach over, you can also remove this cover. Then we have the full loading length, and well, this is actually quite decent then to the front seats. We are here at 57 inches. Well, that's like 145 centimeters. Standard car key. Then let's check the door closing sound. Yeah, we've heard better ones. Then inside of the doors, this is still hard pack. However, here is a soft touch done for your elbow and so on. Beats sound system is equipped with this vehicle, and the new Xperience trim has an entry badge right there. Also says Xperience, and then more changes on the interior. Here there are new air vents styling. In this case, like a white transparent look. There are also, for example, when you have the FR trim, they are in red. And then this is really crucial, a new soft touch dashboard. This brings more premium feeling to it and also has a nice structure to it. So that's a nice upgrade to have, and quite rare that we see upgrades like this in a facelift. Digital instruments and 10 inch, soon more deals to that. And on the steering wheel, still a manual volume control, good to have that. Update travel assist, so new assistance systems upgrade when you pick this option then, and also still hard buttons on the steering wheel. That's really good to have. Contour stitches on the inside. Fabric seats would be beige, and these here are the Alcantara seats in the Xperience trim. So Alcantara on the inside and outside with a high-grade leatherette, so animal-free seat, and also really high, in the quality. And it's also fairly wide, so even if you're tall, you get along with that very well. And indeed, 1 meter 6'1", a lot of headroom left, so you can even pump the seat a little bit higher. and steering wheel manual control. And this is the thing about this vehicle. It's a small SUV, but it already feels kind of grown up on the inside, especially due to the seats. So you have a very comfortable seating position. And here we can once again see this new dash with a nice structure and again soft touch. Also different decal elements available in the matte surface style. Here correspond to the exterior color, and once again the air vents which have this new cover on the inside. I think this small white or colorless looks a little bit cheap. Maybe it looks cooler than with the red in the FR. Different screen size available. 8.25 would be the starting one. This is the new 9.2, and gladly they did not have the temperature sliders or the volume sliders here like in some of the other new VW, Skoda, Seat and so on. Temperature is still in the lower part. Yes, manual control of the temperature sliders and also here of the air vents. Way to go, that's how it's done. In the lower part, inductive charging pad, but also cable connection, 2x USB-C. CarPlay and Android Auto is also available in the wireless style. Start-stop engine button is flashing like in a heartbeat. That's beautiful. DSG shifting lever, if you have this engine right here, and manual handbrake. But the cup holders are rather shallow. So this is the more classic view, right and left, and with the map in the middle, but you can also have the map all over the place. That's why you're always flexible with the digital instruments or this more tech modern view like this, or you can also then switch to other stuff what you want to have in the middle displayed. This is the CarPlay integration, and let's listen to that Beats sound system. And for a small car, actually, it's quite decent. It's not like super rich sound, but I think you can be satisfied with that for this segment. So that's the integration again. Here you hop back to the main Seat menu. You can always click this one here. It's always a hotkey for the CarPlay. This is good to have this one at the same stage here always. I mean, we do have the temperature adjustments right here, the volume adjustments right here, but you can also do it at the steering wheel. That's what I would actually recommend. And then this is the main menu, either this style or click it twice, and then you have a more classic main menu, which has a better overview, I think, and the GPS of that vehicle here itself. Yeah, it really depends. So it doesn't have the best speed or the best overview, and sometimes how can I get this one away now? So you're clicking some things and like, how can I close this thing? How is it possible? And it doesn't really work. So there we go with the hotkey, and you see there have been some updates recently, yes, so it has become better. But I think if you compare pre-facelift, infotainment-wise, I would still go with the old Arona. And that's another thing, it does house 4 tall adults. Here, even if I'm driving, it does exactly fit. And also headroom-wise, no problem. So the interior cabin is really quite spacious, and even here on the rear seats we have the same nice Alcantara layout and so on, Isofix, and this middle part is just stiff as it is. Well, in the third seat, this is getting a little bit closer because it's this tougher leatherette surface in the middle part, and then there's a big middle tunnel and so on, and with knees. So yeah, rather 4 tall adult proof, 5 tall adults on a shorter trip. Welcome to our driving part, Seat Arona in the facelift, and we start directly here in medias res with a nice agile driving part and with beautiful roads here just outside of Bilbao, Spain. And this is also showing the advantages of this small vehicle, this small SUV. It feels fairly agile. It's not as low as, for example, the small car counterpart, the Seat Ibiza, but still, it's really agile, and also the steering input is very good, a very precise steering. There's no dead zone area, and AJ told that to me earlier. So what he also prefers are these small steering wheels in the Seats, right?
Absolutely. The Volkswagen steerings are generally a little bit larger. I remember when I drove the T-Cross, which is, I would say, the counterpart to this. The big steering wheel did not fool me into thinking I was driving a bigger car because the dimensions are quite small, but it had to work the wheel a lot more and it kind of seemed sluggish. But small steering wheels in the Ibiza and the Arona, it just feels like a go-kart, and they're so darty, and I really like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Seat claims to have a younger customer group than also all of the other VW brands. So from the whole corporation, and I think that's maybe one of the reason, small steering wheel, agile driving and so on, and also of course the kind of fresh design on the exterior. So once again, I think it drives really well. There is no adaptive suspension available here for the MQB A0 cars, but I think we're not missing it. The suspension is doing actually a fairly good job. And you also have quite a roomish feeling here, especially in the Arona. And you have this upright seating position, and I think, you can tell me how it is as a passenger. I mean, it's a very small car, but it feels very comfortable in driving, I think.
Yeah, there's plenty of space. I think that's one thing you will not be left wanting in the Arona compared to the Ibiza.
We have the 1.5 TSI here, turbo petrol engine. It's the top engine spec, 150 horsepower. So almost hot hatch alike. It's still a hatch, although it's a small SUV. You can of course easily live with the 1 liter engine, 1 liter turbo engine, which is of course a better price performance deal, especially in the entry price. This one here, I mean, this car with all the things spec, top trim level experience, a new one, and fancy stuff here and there. So we really can easily hit then a 30k, like 30,000 euros, and for a Arona, for a small, that's really a lot. So the 1.5 will have the best driving performance, and you can also keep it at low RPMs. To me, that's also, let's say, more comfortable in a way, because you don't need to stress it so much like the small engine. But hefty price then, definitely. You can do like some acceleration, like we can do 30 to 70 S shifting mode. Let's go. Stop, that's it. Whoa.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, it definitely has some shove, and the 4-cylinder engine is really smooth. This is an engine we're really familiar with.
Yeah, this engine here really, I mean, if you don't care about the money and say like, I want the top spec Arona, the best one you can get. But if you're looking at better price performance, then stick with the 1 liter TSI and enjoy that 3-cylinder sound. And I mean, this isn't an Autobahn racer. However, the only thing at really high speeds, the noise insulation is okay, but not the best.
I think there was too much road noise, honestly.
Yeah. Other than that, like from the seating position and also suspension comfort and so on, this is truly still Autobahn capable. And I think that's the cool thing about this vehicle. You're buying a car that is not long at all, but still you can basically do everything with it. I think that's still one of the strongest points here about the Arona.
Yeah, you were just telling me earlier when we were driving, you said, AJ, if I parked this in front of somebody's house, everybody in that house would have some use for this car. And I think that kind of sums it up. This is a very jack-of-all kind of a car. It's compact for the city, it's spacious for families, small families, and it's fairly sure-footed thanks to this wider track, longer wheelbase that comes with the MQB A0 platform. And therefore, it's a really good compromise. Let's see what I think of the new Arona. Let's start with talking about the mileage in the different driving modes. So we've been driving predominantly in the normal mode, and we're getting numbers around 6.5 liters for 100 kilometers. Thomas, what is that at MPG? Around?
Something around 40 mpg, something like this.
Yeah, I would say it's not too bad.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Can be better.
That's always the challenge with, these turbo petrol engines. It really depends. Because we're driving on this beautiful winding road, we're hitting the coastline now. There's a lot of up and down, and so on and so forth. So
you can't expect too much from these engines here. I think they should be a little bit better.
They should be a little bit better. I totally agree.
It's good. Good straight. You can test the travel assist. Upgrade it actually.
Exactly. So one of the new important things for the new Arona and the new Ibiza are the advanced driver assistance systems. So it does catch the curve, but not all the way. It's not meant for these kinds of roads.
Not for this,
It's meant for the highway, which is great because especially if you're stuck on the Autobahn in traffic jams like I am quite often, you can turn it on and you don't have to worry about constantly going back between the gas pedal and the brake. Wow, look at that coastline.
Yeah, really beautiful area here.
Beautiful. So it really works really nicely, and they've also upgraded with the traffic sign recognition, so we'll understand, it's part of that whole travel assist package. They bundle in all these different software modules into one nice cohesive software program to get the traffic speed limit, adjust that with the cruise control, get the lane keep assist, and everything together is very semi-autonomous.
Yeah, it's really good that they basically implement the stuff in the small car here, which they get from the segments above. The travel assist, the same travel assist tech you also get for the bigger cars.
Yeah, absolutely. So, woohoo! You know, even though it's a pretty tall car, it's got that Seat handling characteristics. It's a little bit more dynamic than the VW counterparts. It doesn't roll as much as I thought it would. So if I go to eco mode, so since we were on the topic of economy and mileage, if I go to eco mode, you know, it's not just the engine, you know, the throttle input. So your throttle input is a lot more delayed. It's always like hesitant to open up the throttle valve and inject more fuel, no matter how, you know, how heavy-footed you are. So that's really great to try to let the car make the better decision and how to be economical than you are. But the gearbox, this DSG, also shifts down when it only needs to, but keeps the gear and shifts up as soon as possible. So basically keeping the engine ticking at a low RPM, so just sipping that fuel. But beyond the gearbox and the engine, it's also other ancillary systems like the air conditioning. So the air conditioning is really just a binary thing. It's on or off. The only way it changes the temperature is it mixes hot air which it gets from the engine heat actually. So it's like, you know, you're in the bathtub when you try to mix hot and cold water taps to make the perfect temperature for your bath. It's the same here. So it disengages the air conditioning compressor the minute it can, and it's a much more gradual temperature change. But because of that, it actually makes such a big difference. Air conditioning to get higher economy. But there's a third mode, which is the mode for me, really.
AJ mode.
AJ mode. Yeah, actually we should call it AJ mode from now on, which is a little bit more sports oriented. A lot of turbo whine.
You got the S shifting mode now when you're in sport mode, but that's actually the same effect then, like, you know, when you pull the DSG shifting lever like backwards, you know,
yeah.
Like you can also, so you don't have to switch the driving modes in the infotainment system. You can also just, like, you know, pull the driving lever from the normal D to the S mode. That's also possible.
Yeah. The chassis is really composed. The small steering wheel that we talked about makes it feel really agile. It's also a fairly fast rack, you know, so I'm not really having to saw away at the wheel to get the car to turn. But front wheel drive only. This platform is not four-wheel drive capable at all anyway.
And of course there are more cars in the segment, like the VW T-Cross, another small SUV. We always have interesting videos to come up here linked, and also in the video description and the pinned comment. See you there.